I'm gonna pause this because I don't want to lose too much. So like the problem a lot of people have is the lot the problem a lot of people have is they think they have to point out everything that happens at light speed when it's like sometimes some shit you just have to let go and you just have to explain whatever you can at that instance or uh so like if you see the mix up and it hits you'd be like that's why that mix up is so cheap because they try to jump, but the block stun doesn't let them jump. And you see this while the combo's going on because it doesn't matter. They're doing a normal combo, right? Um, and then they go for mix up, and then it's like it's so cheap because you can go into this, like unseeable high low mix up that kills both shields you can react to, and you can react to heat, blah blah blah. Like you say that as the combo's going on, right? You don't say as they're doing the setup because it's like if they mess up the setup, then you're just like wasting time, and then you have to stop and then go on to like what's happening. Like I think I honestly do think commentary is not hard, especially given the fact that there are so many people who have done it for so long and they know what to talk about and when to talk about it. But a lot of people just kind of don't like learn. They just kind of think it's about saying what's on the screen at all given times and nothing else, and not talking about anything else that's happening. It's like, oh, the reason why this didn't work is because uh, you can jump cancel this. That's it. That's all you can say. I don't think it's hard. I just think people haven't practiced or they haven't been in the situation where they know how to talk about it. And the only way you get you get that awareness is when you do a lot of commentary. But a lot of people don't do that because they think they can do one net play bracket every week and not practice. Once a week is still like okay. I feel like actually no, it's not. Once a week is not okay. I think you need to practice at least twice a week if you think you need to get better. Twice a week for a minimum like 2 hours. Like if you do a net play bracket that's like 5 hours, cool. But then you have to go back and reflect on that net play bracket if you think you're still new. Try to focus on everything that's happening. It was overwhelming. Yeah, that's why you learn what to talk about, what to talk about. So like everything that's going on the screen right now, I know what's happening, but I can't describe everything. Like you see everything that you see, you figure out what you want to talk about as it's happening. Oh, you're not confident about talking in front of people. That's you develop that skill. I was also not confident talking in front of people because I was not sure what I was saying most of the time. I when I thought I was taking this seriously, I was still not good. I mean, I'm better than I was before, but I don't think I'm on the level I need to be for people to take me seriously. Because I think if you're good, you're on the level. People will mention you like, oh yeah, this person's good. You'll always come up in every conversation if you're good, right? That's what I want to be like. I generally do think that a lot of people who do commentary, they try to because it's hard to judge new players, new commentators, right? Because they've seen people do this for a while, so they're like, okay, I know how to talk about the game, but their pacing is either their pacing is not up to par, they talk too fast, they're incoherent, they talk about the wrong thing, they deviate from what's going on in the match. They think what's going on in the match is not that important, even though sometimes it's not. Like sometimes the match can be sloppy and you're trying to discuss what's happening, what's supposed to happen, but sometimes you still need to talk about what's happening in the match because you could still say, based off the way these people play, you can give an idea of what their strengths are. But yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. I think commentary is hard, but I also think it's easy at the same time since like there's so many fucking net play tournaments for every game that exists that you could just practice live, right? But you need to do both. You need to practice live and then you need to practice like this. You need to sit down, look at a set, and understand what the pacing is like so that way when it happens for real, you have an idea of what you want to talk about. Because obviously when you are live, you can't pause this shit, right? But I try to act the same way as if this was live, unless it's something that I have no idea what happens, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? Like I've never seen a situation before, and I'm like, oh, I need to study what happened here. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go off. Yeah, they never give their partner space to talk, which is like, uh, it's hard depending on if the person knows what cues to go off of. Because sometimes, uh, the way people talk, because they talk real fast, they don't know, they don't. give an audible for what sounds like a gap, because like if you talk really fast and you don't give space for anyone else to go, there's no gap. They don't know when it's their turn, and they just think they have to wait for something that stops like this. And in that gap right there, you have to figure out: do you talk? Are they still talking about whatever they want to talk about? Do you cut them off and say "fuck it, I'm going"? Because there's a lot of stuff that you could do, right? Most people, I'm down to let them go because I'm just chilling. Depending on what the event is, I'm just chilling because if I've worked with them before, I want to see what their timing is. Their timing is. If I haven't worked for them before, it's like, okay, I gotta figure out what this person's like, and that's hard to do if I've never really talked to you before. But then I try to make it so that I give enough space for almost everything. You've been commentating 3 weekly exhibition events recently for 3 different games. You want to break into commentating bigger stuff, but you don't really know how. Which games are they? The rules of social interactions at play? That, kind of. A little bit, kind of. Because it comes with learning how to talk as a person, because like you do need a level of what's the word I'm looking for? Not charisma, presence. You have to have presence. If you have presence, people will be like, "Oh, this person's talking. I'll listen." Or your commentator will like your partner will also listen to you, be like, "Oh, this is what they're talking about. All right, cool." Or you'll take whatever they said, you'll listen to them when you have presence. When you don't have presence, it's it's real easy to not matter. You do as many net play brackets as you can for those games to chill, and then anytime there's like a big tournament for those games, you ask to see if there's commentary that they need help with. You do what you're comfortable with, because you don't want to force yourself and then it turns into something that's like shitty. Because like uh I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes I would do net play. I think during the pandemic, was it during the pandemic? Yeah, I was doing a lot of net play brackets that I was just like, eh. I didn't really feel like doing, but I did it anyway, and I could feel my quality dip because of that. So I always told myself like, unless I need to practice or I'm not feeling up to it, I won't do it. So like the the TNS bracket, I didn't have a lot of time to do commentary for it, but I thought it was a good way to like figure out how to improvise on stuff that I knew and stuff that I didn't know. So I thought that was good. Locals you like treating as a learning experience when you get to new games, but as you learn more, you'd be providing talk. Yeah, I mean, you're also supposed to do that on your own time, right? Because like, I think it's important that most people understand the fact that like you're not gonna like if you don't practice until you get to a bracket, then it's like, how long does that take you? Like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month? Like you're telling me within a month, by not practicing in any capacity, you're good enough to do a bracket? It's like, oh, I'm gonna show up to this basketball game real quick, but I'm not gonna practice for a month. I'm not gonna do any training. I'm not gonna do any running. I'm not gonna do any exercise. I'm godlike. I'm just gonna show up. I'm good. Like if you did a net play bracket twice a week for like every week, I'd be like, okay, you have a lot of practice. That's good. You have a lot of live practice. That's really good. But you still need to supplement that, right? Unless you have some sort of generational talent where you can talk to anybody on earth and you just have great presence. Very few people have that. Yeah, very few people have that, at least in this field. So you should. I feel most people should still put in some sort of exercise of talking, studying the game, because you still need to study the damn game. Because I don't care what anyone says. Like, oh, haha, this is the funny person. But if the funny person knows dick about the game, then it's like, oh, this person's just here to be funny. I see. But I generally tell people like, hey, study the game. If you haven't been studying it for a while, or if you haven't really been studying the game, study the game. Jesus, anti-air 5C. Was saying study the game, practice at home in some capacity. And people always be like, oh, but I can't. Ugh. People always want to tell me like, oh, I can't. I don't get net play brackets, or I don't. I can't go to too many majors. It's like practice at home. Just fucking turn on your turn. If you have a decent enough setup, turn on your stream. Go on YouTube, watch a bunch of matches for the game you're trying to practice. Practice that on your stream, or if you're after, or if your computer can't handle it, if you have a console like most people do, You stream from the console and you stream replay matches or something, or you open a lobby and you have strong people play in your lobby or something, and you practice that way. Like you have methods of practicing. It's just like there's different ways you can practice. It's like someone saying, "Hey, I need to go to a gym to get ripped," right? And it's like, no, you don't. Like at your house, you can just like you can do all sorts of exercises that work within the confines of the space that you have. Like some people don't have backyards; they don't have enough space like to work outdoors. So like as long as you have ventilated space with a fan or something, you could probably like do X amount of push-ups, sit-ups. Uh, if you can't afford weights, there's fucking like you can get milk crates, fill them shits with books or something heavy, and just fucking do lifting like that. But yeah, the analogy for commentary is still the same. It's you you have different resources. You don't have to go to a big tournament and get a slot every single time.